Welcome to In Progress, a podcast to help you grow and learn how to become a better version of yourself. Now, here's your host, Michael Cirigliano.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of In Progress. I'm your host, Michael Cirigliano, with special guest, Federico Paulovich. How you doing, Fede?
Very well, very well.
That's good.
Can I pronounce your name in the Italian way, the correct one?
Let the people know how it actually is supposed to sound, yes.
Cirigliano.
Cirigliano, not Cirigliano, Cirigliano.
Cirigliano.
We were getting that the entire time me and my brother were in Italy. We were getting that it's not Cirigliano, Cirigliano. Every time we'd say Cirigliano, like, what are you saying? What is that?
Yeah, exactly.
But Fede, he has a school for drumming in Milano. He also drums at clinics. He's made a career out of drumming, which a lot of people can't do. And especially in a country where, from what I understand, being a musician is pretty difficult, especially a drummer.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Italy is, of course, like, as an European country, we are so related to what's going on in the USA, especially in terms of what's cool and what's going on in the music industry as well.
Yeah.
But like, I would say in a scale of opportunity and business related things around music, I would say in a scale, if the US is at the top of the chart, I would say China, it's probably going to be at the bottom. And I know what I'm talking about, as I've been there for clinic tours like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
And so, like, Italy, Europe in general, but Italy, I would say it's in the upper half of the chart. So it's not the best country for that, but it's not even the worst. And And I think we have like wonderful musicians down here. Like, the quality of musicians is so high, and sometimes I feel like it's a shame that they cannot express themselves at their maximum potential due to the fact that sometimes, like, professional gigs are not allowing musicians to express at full potential, and it's even more difficult to play, for example, original music at the clubs.
Yeah, exactly.
While in the States, I think, especially nowadays, you don't get to hear many cover bands in the clubs, do you?
Not in the clubs. No, in the clubs, typically in America, you'll hear, like, there'll be a DJ who's playing music that already exists, not covers, but, like, mixing actual music that is out on the radio. But, like, for example, with Marco, if we go to any of Marco's gigs, Marco plays at bars, at clubs, and it's all his band's original music. It's never a cover.
Yeah, that's the only thing I do. I only play original music. I've been playing covers when I was younger, but it's very hard to play gigs around Italy if you don't play, Vasco Rossi covers and all that stuff. So it's a different cultural environment, that's for sure.
Yeah. Why do you think it is that in Italy playing covers is more popular than playing original music in clubs?
I think it's a cultural thing, and as years are passing by, people are consuming music much more as a product, and there's less, I think, passion into finding the music that you really like.
Yeah.
So most of, like, the average Joe listens to the radio, and that's the only thing he hear during the day. So this is the music, all right, and that's what he looks for when he goes to clubs, basically, right? There's no culture and curiosity to actually go out and seek for new bands.
Yeah, that's the nice thing, at least with America. I mean, I feel like, my town, places that I've been, like, a lot of there are cover bands for sure. Like, I just went to a festival recently where, like, the main event, the big name on the ticket was actually a cover band. I'm not sure if you've heard of Zach Brown Band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's a cover band that's very popular in Rochester, and they, like, headlined the festival.
Okay, I see.
So, like, there still is that, but, like, the younger generation, from my observation of it, are more open to the music that is created by the musicians locally as opposed to only wanting to hear music that's on the radio. So it
Yeah, I
definitely,
might say this is slowly coming here. I mean, and for sure, like Milan is the most advanced city, I would say, in regards to music and art in general and
yeah,
show business. But I'm not quite sure I can say the same for any other city outside Milan. But here, like I would say, people still crave for concerts of like original music and new bands.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
when we
that's the
were,
only music I play live. I only play original projects.
oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, see that's perfect. Like you're part of the trend of that going somewhere. Like you're part of that beginning thing, which is huge because
Yeah.
musicians need that. You can't go anywhere. I mean, you can, but like playing covers all the time, you can't really express who you are as a musician when
No.
you're playing a cover.
I mean, I've done that because that's a gig and you have to pay your bills.
Yeah,
But
money. Yeah,
then after a while, if you make the right choices and you grew up as a musician, I think there's a time where when you should say stop and just play other kind of music, you know?
yeah, absolutely. Now with
Not that I think until I was probably 26, maybe
you were playing covers till 26.
till 26, and then I was like, stop it, I'm done with this.
Why?
It's an artistic reason. I mean, like you play that shit for for paying your bills, but then after a while you just get sick of it. You just want to play the music you like, and that's
Yeah,
what I've done. And plus, the point is that I love teaching. I've been doing that for so long that I thought I'd rather earn my money teaching lessons than playing covers. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
absolutely. Now with that being said, you have a school in Milano.
Mhm.
How did that like how did you start? Why did you start that school in general? Like for what?
I think the most important thing is, as I already said, I opened my school because I love teaching,
Mhm.
and teaching has never been a plan B in my mind for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. As a
Again, I
musician, that's
rather teach.
huge.
Yeah, I rather teach to kids who really want to improve playing drums instead of playing music that I don't care about.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I feel like my relationship with music is so I would say sacred,
Yeah,
that I feel like I don't want to compromise that playing music that I don't like.
yeah, absolutely. You have to play what you want to play so that you're playing it to your
Yeah,
fullest potential.
exactly, exactly.
So
And
with
teaching, I mean, it's after a day of teaching, you come home like exhausted, but it's the best feeling at the same time because you feel like you're doing something good to other people. So
yeah,
I love that feeling, you know.
absolutely.
I love teaching. So the point, the story, long story short, is I've been teaching since I was 16. So I definitely started teaching way too young to actually have a consciousness about what was the content that I was teaching, and certainly I wasn't able to re-elaborate the content in a way that fitted the student the most. I
Yeah.
was just recycling the information that I was getting from my teacher back then.
Yeah, exactly.
And
You
then
weren't
after
doing
a
your
while, I
own thing.
started exactly. After a while, I started understanding. Okay, so students they need help in developing this, and that. So I might find out a way to explain better this thing because they're not getting it. So I found out I like to explain things,
Yeah.
right? So and I've done that for very long. And then in 2009, my former teacher, one of the most important teacher for myself, he had this school in Milan, and
Mhm.
he asked me to basically teach master classes for the students of his third year of course. So his course is like 3 years long, and then you actually do the final exam and you get a diploma after that.
Yeah.
So for the students of the third year of course, they get to have like 5 master classes with me where I can explain whatever I like, especially stuff that he doesn't do, like double pedal, or, stuff like that, because he's more of a jazz guy. So I'm covering the, more like the modern rock kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so and so I started working with this school in Milan, right? And after a few years, they asked me, Fede, do you want to start your own course inside the school? And I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. But then my course wasn't really structured in a way that you knew when you started and when you ended. Like, it's only like you paid for 16 or 32 lessons with me at school, but in reality there was no actual difference going and taking lessons with me at school or private lessons at home. You only paid more at school instead of coming privately. So no surprise, the course didn't take off because people continued taking private lessons, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I was like, guys, because the owner of the school was like, oh, I don't understand why your course is not taking off. And I'm like, I do understand why. There's nothing different in coming to, and take private lessons instead of coming to school, and except it's more expensive.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I would like to have my own course, that it's not just 1 year long, but a multi-year course at the end of which you get the diploma and you have like complementary subjects.
Yes.
Right? So that's what I did. But the structure, the building where the school is in Milan, is way too small to be able to host 2 different drum courses. So I just say, hey guys, you know what? I'm opening my own school. And since I respect you a lot and I don't want to fight you, maybe we can just, have this collaboration where I say, this is one of your branches. So I kept the school brand.
Yeah.
But the school is under my name, basically. It's the Federico Paulovich Drum School, right? So and I chose this place, which is a little bit outside of Milan, and is in a huge recording studio. Like, my drum room is about 300 square meters, which I don't know the conversion in foot, but it's very large. All right.
Absolutely.
I can definitely fit like 5 drum set, and we have a stage, and we have the pads with the mirror. I have plenty of space, right?
Yeah.
And the location is beautiful. So that was the only way for me to actually have a full drum course with complementary piano and musical theory, harmony, recording session, master classes. So it's a full package instead of private lessons. So the difference now is huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So I still have private students, but those are mainly the ones who there are basically like 2 types. Like, the more advanced students, actually it doesn't make sense for them to join the school because we basically kind of start from the basics.
Yeah.
So they come and take private lessons as a sort of level up kind of course,
exactly.
right? And then I have the ones who they have a day job and they just want to get better at playing drums, but they don't have enough time to actually practice the piano and harmony and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But the school is for the most motivated students, basically.
So would you say that your schooling, what you teach is you teach a broad range? You teach from beginner to extremely advanced, and because you do what, a 3-year program too?
It's 4 years.
4 years.
4 years, because I realized at the middle of the year last year, because the school has just started. It's the 3rd year in existence, the school, basically, right?
Yeah.
And I realized in the middle of the year, and I'm like watching my students at the 2nd year, and I was like, oh, these guys are supposed to be playing the final exam in a little more than a year from now. And I don't think they'll be able to do that with the exam that I have in my mind for them.
Yeah.
So I need to add another year because I have so much more to teach them that 3 years is just not enough.
Absolutely.
And also, I wanted to differentiate from all the other schools that are 3 years long.
Yeah, you wanted to be
Only
different.
I only take 9 students per year. I just want the most motivated people. I don't want like hundreds of students hanging around the studio. I only want, 9, the most motivated every year, and that's
Mhm.
it.
So an odd concept for someone from America, because in America it's very money driven. It sounds like you're not so much money driven as you are the actual aspect of teaching people that want to learn.
That's my main drive. But at
Yeah.
the same time, my point is, since I'm so confident that the job we are doing is so good,
Mhm.
I know in a matter of few years, I will have to, uh, you know, stop at 9 and having many people in the waiting list for the year after, right?
Yeah.
So when something like that happens, I can drastically raise my prices at that
Yeah,
point.
absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
an investment. Like I don't want to work like 100 hours a week. I just want
No.
time for myself and playing drums and do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So with 9 students in 4 years, it's like 36 students. It's like four afternoons of teaching, 4.5 hours, and
Yeah.
that's enough for me. I don't want to work more than that.
Absolutely.
And I can actually make more money in that time if
Mm.
the school goes well and everyone wants to join the course, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. So what made you, because as a drummer, I mean, I don't know too many drummers, but since going to Italy, I met a shitload of drummers. I feel like drummers want to drum and they want to perform and they want to go on the big stage. Is that something that you ever really pursued, or for you was it more I want to teach and let the next generation become better and let my knowledge push off to the next generation?
Of course, I love to play shows, big shows, concerts, and that's what I do. I mean, I've done so many different things. I've played TV shows. I've played a bunch of clinics. I've done so many different things. But the point is, uh, I mean, if the gig pays well and it's in a professional environment,
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. I don't
Yeah,
care.
absolutely.
But as music is so important for me, I'm trying to only do the things that I like. So
Yeah.
most of the pop music, like the Italian pop music, which I've never been listening to much in my
Mm-hmm.
life, I mean, those gigs certainly would pay well and certainly would allow me to play big arenas or concert halls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for as much as I know myself, I would probably question myself after a week or two of tour, like on stage playing the same kind of boring songs over and over again, and
Yeah.
and my questioning myself, like, what am I doing? And who am I playing for?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the most important thing, because like I have my own band, we write our own music.
Uh-huh.
Uh, we have like new records coming out in September, October this year. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a sixth album,
Mm-hmm.
and we played tours in Europe, North America, and Japan. We played in a whole bunch of different places,
Yeah.
and even though we haven't played like huge arenas or stuff like that, it's much more satisfying knowing that there are people around the world coming to your shows, listening to the music that you wrote.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
much more satisfactory for me than playing for someone else that I don't even care in music.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And Marco was telling me this in a previous episode. When you're a musician, a drummer, anything, it's an art form, and you can only really enjoy it if you're doing what you love to do. You can't just like force yourself to play you can force yourself to play, but your heart isn't in it when you're doing that.
It's the same for teaching. It's full of drum teachers who wanted to be rock stars and failed, so they teach and they ruin the students.
Yeah, absolutely, because their heart's not in it.
It's the same. So I've talked about this with my colleagues and friends so many times, and I have a bunch of great drumming friends who play pop gigs, and it boils down to, you gotta love it, man. If you want to play pop music, you have to love the music.
Yeah, exactly.
And unfortunately, I don't. So it's like not really my cup of tea. That's it. I'm not saying it's it's bad and people shouldn't do that. Everyone should do what they love. That's the point.
Yeah, absolutely. Now with your drum school, what made you want to go full steam into the drum school, and like, because you have a pretty well-known drum school in Milan, right?
I mean, kind of, yeah. I mean, it's brand new, and the point is, I built my reputation in the drumming community in the last 15 years or so.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, even with a name in the drumming community, starting a drum school from zero, it's not an easy task, because you don't have the TripAdvisor effect.
Mm-hmm.
Because you didn't have students who can say, yeah, I've been there and it was good. There wasn't the school the year earlier,
Yeah, exactly. You're still building up
how
to
it's
that.
going to be. So the students who enrolled in the course in the last years, they did it because they wanted to study with me and they trusted the program, even if they knew, even if they didn't know anybody who actually studied with me at school, because the school didn't exist.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, they wanted to study with Fede.
Yeah, in fact, most of the students that I have, they come from out of region.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. Yeah,
they drive like 1 up to 4 hours every week.
Jesus.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you market your school at all? Do you advertise your school at all, or is it more so just your presence on social media kind of does that for you?
Which is terrible, because I hate social media so bad. So I'm very bad at it, honestly. But yeah, this is the period where I normally start, making some advertisement, because the new season is opening up. So we're opening up for new students. So yeah, I do like paid ads on Facebook and Instagram during this period. Mm-hmm. And normally the course would start in October. So we have a few months of promotion to honestly just find the 9 most motivated students. That's the goal.
Absolutely. How do you think that the advertisements are doing a good job right now, or do you think it's more so like how you were saying before, people just know you from drumming as long as you've been drumming and they want to learn from you?
I think it's a combination of the two, because even though there are quite a few drummers who know me and know what I do, they maybe don't know about the school.
Yeah,
it's a good idea to promote the school instead of just yeah, I play drums and maybe you like it. It's, so I think, I mean, you cannot do without it, to be honest. That's the bare minimum you can do.
Mm-hmm. Now, what sets your school apart from the rest? What makes your school different from the rest of the schools that are out there right now?
I think there are a few things that set me apart. The first is that the program is 4 years long, and most of schools are like 3 years, and most of the content and that I'm teaching to the students comes from my direct experience and from my personal studies and research. So most of the stuff that I teach, they cannot find it anywhere else, basically.
Really?
Yeah. So I have plenty of, traditional books that I've studied with my earlier teachers.
Yeah.
But as in my career as a student, when I was younger, I found so many lacking points in the instructional books and stuff like that. I'm like, I think there's much more to this. I have to dig and
Mhm.
find a system to actually master this subject. And that's what I've done.
Absolutely.
And I've also done like video courses in the same way. So
Mhm.
I'm teaching stuff that I taught myself in the first place. And I tested them that they work. So I know I can teach them to my students.
Right.
Basically.
No, absolutely.
And
Where do you see the school, like big picture? Where do you want to take this schooling and all of that? Do you want to keep it to just Milan, or do you want to branch out and do bigger, like more, either more countries, more cities? How big do you want to make this?
that's a good question. I've been thinking about scaling the school, of
Mhm.
course. One more exclusive that I have that I want to mention that sets me apart from the other schools that is that I have so many good drumming friends, especially like American drummers,
Yeah.
very famous drummers, and we organize like 2 or 3 webinar with them each year. They we have this sort of like Zoom call with all the
Yeah.
students, and they we have the Q&A with them, and they explain stuff that I really want the students to hear from them how it's like to be on tour for like 2 days, 200 days in a year or stuff, or
Yeah.
more like gig related stuff, because I can teach them the drums, right?
Mhm.
But I want them to hear from people who can really inspire them to make, the next step, to be their, spark of inspiration, I would say. And
Yeah.
I can, it's based on the friendship relationship that I have with many of those drummers,
Mhm.
and the schools in Italy can't do that, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, for example, one of my best friends is Dave Illich, and he's
Mhm.
one of the most respected teachers and drummers in general in the States and in
Mhm.
the world, I would say.
Mhm.
Uh, many famous drummers take lessons from him to fix like posture and technique in general.
Yeah.
So basically, he helped me out with that, and I'm kind of, incorporating that kind of knowledge into the technique teaching that I'm doing at the first year, of course.
Yeah.
And I can say no one else in Italy is doing that.
Yeah. They don't have the same connections.
No, no, they don't have the same knowledge. It's a different approach,
Yeah.
completely different approach.
Absolutely.
So that's a that's a good thing because makes the school exclusive, which is the thing that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
At
Absolutely.
the same time, it makes it more difficult to scale because you need to have teachers who know what they're teaching in
Yeah.
order for you to grant the same quality of content if you have to open other schools in the country.
Yeah. Absolutely. Do you want to bring it to the States, possibly? The school that you have right now?
Not for now. I mean, like there are plenty of like huge schools that I would have to compete with
Yeah.
that I don't think I'm, strong and big enough so far to even try to do that.
Mhm.
I mean, I'd be just happy to have more than one in Italy at some point.
Yeah. Absolutely. Which, I mean, I don't see why you can't.
No, no, exactly. The obstacle is mainly having the right teachers
Right.
that like most likely will be the most proficient students of the school. So it's got to take its time, to form the right students who really want to do that. Then
Mhm.
that's an opportunity, yeah. But it's at a certain level I would like to do that, but I also kind of hate the franchising model of schools that we have in Italy, and we
Yeah.
have like 3 or 4 of them, and I'm fighting them ideologically, I would say, not
Yeah.
like factually, but
Yeah.
because the point is that they grow as a sort of like a multi-level kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they actually the students get the diploma and so that they can open a new branch with that diploma and teach the same thing but with less quality.
Yeah. So
I don't
as
want
it gets bigger, it gets watered down.
exactly. I don't want that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that makes a lot of sense. So how do you, mentality wise, how do you go about like the process of like finding the people? Like, is there a certain mentality you're looking for, or it like how do you go about finding the 9 students that are like the ones you're gonna teach?
I do auditions.
Oh,
Like
really?
if you want to join the school, you have to do the audition with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's mainly for testing the level, because I do classes of 2 or 3 students
Yeah.
per time. So I have to make sure the students are the most leveled as possible,
Mm-hmm.
because of course, like the level of the students is very diverse,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not a reason for me to keep students off the school, because maybe I have students who have started playing just like a few years ago, but they're practicing a lot.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
have talent and they progress. And
Mm-hmm.
on the other hand, I have people who've been playing for like 10, 15 years, but they're less, flexible and less, keen to understanding the process, the learning process, and actually do the changes that would allow them to improve for good. So it really depends. For now, the audition is about setting the same level for the class,
Mm-hmm.
and then at that point I can only keep the best ones after shit. Hey, did I freeze?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay, good. So I can do the auditions to level the classes, and then I can only keep the best students.
Yeah.
And the worst, I can just say, hey, I'll see you next year. Be more prepared.
I mean, that's a good way to go about it, because then it
Yeah,
gives them something to work towards for the next year.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you said you were doing this for 3 years. So you were doing this through COVID.
Yeah, I started, and like three months later, COVID started.
How did you stick with it through all of that? Because I know
Yeah,
Italy shut down.
like it's not even easy to start a school from zero. Can you imagine? Like you start your own school, and 3 months later, it's COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Everything shuts down. You can't do nothing.
yeah, yeah, it's been hard, but we managed to do it.
How did you
Actually,
manage to do it?
I mean, apart from the first couple months of like March and April,
Mm-hmm.
in which I've done like lessons on Zoom with the students. But after that, we came back to school and never closed again. So
Mm-hmm.
I've done lessons in presence ever since, apart from the first 2 months of COVID.
Damn, that's not bad.
Yeah.
You really ran with it the whole time. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
basically, yes. But I think that's the importance of choosing the right partners, like business partners.
Yeah,
Because the
100%.
guy of the studio, he went to the, I would say, like the police chief of the county, and
Mm-hmm.
explained the situation. The studio is very large, so there's really no risk of infection, because we can stay very far away from each other.
Yeah.
So we just did that, and we just did lesson like in presence, apart from for the first 2 months of
Mm-hmm.
of the COVID thing.
Yeah. What makes you stick with it through all of through everything? Like, because starting a business isn't easy, and
Nope.
being in music and trying to make a career out of music isn't easy, and you're doing both of them at the same time.
Yeah. It's
So
stressful.
what makes you stick with it and keep pushing and not stopping?
I want to do the best that I can. I don't like mediocrity, so I just want to be the best at what I do. At least I know that I tried. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm-hmm.
like this. My school is definitely the best thing I've ever done in the last 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, I'm so happy that I've done that. In many regards, like financial regard,
Yeah.
and I would say personal growth regard, because at this point I have 20 something students,
Yeah.
and it's at school apart from the private ones, and it's great to see how beautiful and friendly and inspirational the environment of the school has begun,
Yeah.
because students become friends with each other, and we all make jokes. Like it's a very fun environment to work in.
Yeah.
So I'm
Absolutely.
actually looking forward to the days that I'm teaching at school.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I do prepare the lessons. I'm like, okay, so tomorrow's gonna be that, and so first year I'll teach this and that. Second year it's gonna be this program. Third year is gonna be that program.
Hmm.
And honestly, the feeling of seeing the guys like growing, it's priceless. I
Absolutely.
see them at the first year, and the third year they can actually play. Like they're getting better and better, and that's a wonderful feeling for me.
Absolutely. That's probably the most rewarding thing, right? Seeing them
It
go from this level to this level because of your teaching.
it is, and I'm always questioning myself. It's like, because I've always been uh I really never needed extra motivation for practicing.
Hmm.
But I see like younger generation, they kind of need that, because all this social media is so distracting.
Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
really need a guide to help them navigate through, all the like information that most of the time is crap. So I
Yes.
the my goal is also to actually pick the right information from them, because if not, they're just lost.
Yeah, absolutely. Without your guidance, they're just stuck on the whole social media thing. And I've seen on social media drummers, like my social media, because of Marco and because
Yeah,
of like everything that I've been doing the past month, my social media is full of drummers, and you'll see like kids drumming, and like they'll just be doing whatever the hell they want to do, and it makes
exactly.
no sense, but it looks cool.
Exactly, but then like that has a deep impact in the uh psychological aspect of the students, because the point was like, I'm old enough to remember how the word before internet was, because
Yeah.
that's when I started playing drums. But I'm young enough to have been able to adapt to the new tool,
Yes,
right?
exactly. That
So I'm
perfect
I'm
middle
in that
ground.
sort of like in the middle generation,
Yeah.
right? So I remember how it was before, but I adapted to the new standard. So I know that the point is, back then teachers were like, I'm teaching you this, and if you don't get it, it's your fault. Like, figure it out. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna try to repeat this, right?
Yeah.
So when I was studying with my teacher, he was kind of like that. So I had to be super sharp and paying attention to what he was doing to really grasp the information.
Yeah.
But also I was so much craving for as much information I could, that I literally try to copy everything he was doing, even if he wasn't teaching me that particular thing. I'm like, okay, I'll try to do that, even if it's not the subject of the lesson, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But nowadays, like, I think with internet, teaching has to change, because there's too much information compared to like 15, 20 years ago, where information was kind of rare.
Yeah.
Now there's too much information, so the plus that the teacher needs to give to students is, because they can actually find that information anywhere. The plus of the teacher is, okay, this is the information, and if you don't get it this way, I'll make sure you get it in any other different way,
Yeah,
and I'll kind
exactly.
of like personalize it until you get it.
Right. Makes you have to work a little harder to get it
Yeah,
through to the student.
yeah. I don't know if this is good or not, but that's the way it is. I can do nothing to change it.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know?
it makes the teacher have to be more in tune with the student, because like you said, they can go on YouTube and find another teacher who's teaching the same thing but a different way that resonates with them more, as opposed to before, like you said, oh, you don't get it, oh well.
Yeah,
Which that's a
exactly.
terrible way to teach.
But that's how it's always been. Like that's pre-internet teaching, basically.
Would you say that the availability of information right now is better for what you're doing, or would you say it's worse because it makes it so that you have more competition? Do you say it's better or worse?
It's different. It's hard for me to say if it's better or worse because I don't want to sound nostalgic either. I don't want to sound too enthusiastic about the progress. I don't know. It's just different, and you gotta adapt, basically.
Absolutely. So for somebody who wants to maybe start pursuing music or pursuing teaching music, what do you say is like the biggest thing that you've stuck with to bring you to the level that you're at?
As a student or as a teacher, like for opening a school?
Yes.
Quality over quantity. That's why, I don't want too many students. I don't want to do too many things. I don't want to open too many schools. It's like I do whatever I can do, but I do it at my best. And I try to find the best resources, the best professionals for every role in the school, and for all the partnerships and collaborations that I do. I'm looking for the best in every field, and that's also something that I'm forcing myself to do as well, because I always question myself, like, am I good enough for the job that I'm doing?
Yeah.
Are there any other schools that are better at doing what I'm doing? So far, students are happy about the process, because mainly because the way that I am, I don't think they see me as like the severe teacher, they're afraid of. The relationship I have with them is much more like elder brother.
Yes. Yeah,
Kind of.
exactly. Which that's a great way to be, honestly, because I feel like as just anyone would say, having an authority figure that you're also friends with, close with, is better than just having that authoritative do what I say.
Yeah, I mean, you also have to have a bit of that, because if you don't do that, the fine line between friendship and respect versus disrespect and keeping the roles separated, it's very undefined. So as soon as I see that they're taking too much freedom in the relationship they're having with me, I just point it out. Like, yes, I'm cool, it's all good, I'm not your brother though. I'm a teacher, and now you do what I say. So it's about getting the right balance, and honestly, I think the most important thing in general is to be congruent with your values and who you are, basically. I am who I am. I am this way, and I translate that into the way I teach. I'm not a different person when I'm teaching. I'm not a different person when I'm relating to other drummers or students, or I treat people the same way. I don't care.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. I mean, you can't be a fake version of yourself in any circumstance. Otherwise, you can't continue that.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I think I don't remember if we have talked about this when you guys were in Italy, but I think because I treat everyone in the same way. I think that's a key point for me that allowed me to develop the good relationship that I have with so many great drummers, because I've always treated them as peers, like as, you know, human beings
Yeah.
before, you know, the great drummers that they clearly are, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The problem is, and because I've seen it with myself, and I very soon realized I didn't like it, you know, because I've seen so many other drummers uh, treating me with like excessive respect because, you know, I'm kind of more famous than them in Italy, so they're, you know, treating me with, you know, a lot of respect.
Yeah. Oh my
But
God, it's Fede.
exactly. But at the same time, as soon as they relate with their students or other peers or, you know, younger drummers, or just because they're not as good as them in playing drums, they treat them like shit, right? So, and I hate that, because what happened is, when those people become better and better and eventually they become famous, those are the ones who treat other people like shit just because they're not famous, and will try with excessive respect people who are more famous than them, you know?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No.
For me, it's like horizontal. I treat everyone in the same way. I don't care if you're not, you know, God, or like the last of the, you know, homelesses. I don't care.
Yeah. You treat everybody with the same exact respect.
Same respect. Exactly.
Yeah.
At first, then of course, like trust and, you know, extra respect, then you have to earn them.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
the basic, you know, education and respect, that's owned to everyone.
100%. So what would you say is like the biggest thing you want people to take away from today's interview that we did?
Probably, you know what? Because when you ask me why you opened your school, how did you manage to do that, etc., etc. For me, I've never done anything different that I'm doing right now, and I've always counted on myself only. So I've never had an employer. I never had a boss, right? So I couldn't imagine a different outcome for me than doing stuff on my own. While, for example, uh, I have so many colleagues that they work very hard to being to be hired and teach at the conservatory of music of such city or whatever that is.
Yeah.
So that they're basically waiting for other people to give them the job. And I wanted to create my own job. I don't want to depend from anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the spirit that I've always had approaching this kind of, you know, word and this kind of career. Because basically, if you want to have a career like a musician, you're crazy at the beginning. So you're not adverse to risk if you're doing musician, right?
100%.
So if you don't care about risk, then why would you wait for other people to give you work, to give you a gig, to give you a job? You know,
Yeah,
you just do it on your own, and that's what I've always done.
absolutely. That that's probably, honestly, that's, as an entrepreneur, someone who opens up their own business, who does their, I mean, as a musician, you're an entrepreneur from the jump, and you can't wait for other people to give you opportunities, because that might never happen.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
no, that,
I mean, just don't count on them. They will come, but just don't count on them.
yeah,
That's a plus, basically.
Exactly. I wanted to thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Thanks,
It
Michael.
was amazing. Thank you for coming. Everybody, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Any questions you have for Fede, feel free to comment or DM. I'll make sure to get them to him. And any of his links or information for his school, albums, any of that will be in the description below. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much, guys.